Some of you all may remember the school shooting in DeKalb County when the gunman came in with an AK-47, about 500 rounds of ammo, and the bookkeeper talked him down.
Yep.
I am that bookkeeper.
And that's why I called your
Wow.
name, ma'am. Can I tell you, it is an honor for you to
God
be
bless
in
you.
our space. You are a shero who has saved generations of lives because you were the person that was able to be chosen by God at that moment to ensure that his children were safe and that his kingdom were going to go forward. So, Miss Antoinette Tuff, I don't know how you got here, but baby, welcome to OSG.
We're glad you're here, sister. God
Well,
bless you,
come
sister.
come on,
God
Amen and
bless you.
amen.
come on, Antoinette. Like, listen, this is we gonna give you your moment to shine, girl. We're gonna give you your moment
Listen,
to
that's
shine.
why I saw the name and I was like, is that the same person that talked the man off the ledge? And so I said, that's why I said, tell about this thing. Yes, ma'am. Tell the people who may not be familiar with who you are. Woo.
Yeah. So on August 20th, 2013, a young man came into the elementary school with an AK-47 and about 500 rounds of ammo. It was about 8 months after the Sandy Hook school shooting. It was not the first school shooting, but it was the only one that was able to have no fatalities or injuries. I actually took that event and went back and first did a book called Prepared for a Purpose. Some of you all may be familiar with my movie called Faith Under Fire, where Tony Braxton played me on Lifetime, which won a Christopher Award in 2019. And so today I just came back from signing up to go back into DeKalb County for the first time since the incident. So coming back into DeKalb County to support my educators. And so that's why I'm here with you all today, supporting you all on the ground. Let you all know that I'm here for you, but also supporting you all as women in my Living on Purpose program for women for about 12 weeks that we're going to be starting next Tuesday. And so for me, it's all about how can I come back and support my educators and my youth. And then I'm coming back to support my youth and my kids on the move for success.
It's not coincidental that you're here, and I want you to kind of introduce yourself a little bit to the people who may not know you, and then also too maybe you can help us with this discussion about what we're going to do about learning loss, because I think it's safe to say that even in the church, even in the mosques, that there are going to be some form of learning loss. So I want to turn it over to you, Bishop Whitehead. Thank you for joining us.
Uh, hey,
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you so much for having me. Man, it's a privilege and an honor to even be on you guys' platform. I want to thank my wife and Dame Dash and Dr. Riley for giving me the opportunity to be on this platform. My name is Bishop Lamar Miller Whitehead, and I'm a pastor and bishop of two churches. I have a church in Brooklyn, New York, and I also have a church in Atlanta, Georgia. And God has been amazing to me, and just to hear your stories and just to see how the Holy Spirit started to fill the room. I sat back and I just was like, wow, this went left, like wow, because God always knows how to set and establish an atmosphere. A little bit about me. I'm actually running to be the next Brooklyn Borough president of Brooklyn. And when I look at all of the educators here, and I've been doing the research and just throughout my life in Brooklyn and looking at how the school system is just been a makeup to fail. And we have the reason why I've gotten out of the pulpit to get into politics is not because I'm a politician, but because I'm a leader. And we need leaders to pour money into our community, into our schooling. One of the biggest pandemics in our culture, and I look to say COVID-19 has already been here. It just wasn't named COVID-19. And it was to distort and destroy our school system. One of the big Achilles heels of our school system is poverty, right? Our children are coming to school with already pressures that they haven't been eating, that their parents, they either have a single parent in Brooklyn or in our school system, only a mother, maybe a father. In Brooklyn, 8 out of 10 homes, the fathers are in prison. The mothers are raising the children. So they're coming to school with an attitude. And I look, since this have turned, you guys opened the door for a religious impartation in this. And Psalms 91, it says that God gave angels charge over us so that our foot will not dash against a stone. So when I look at the educators, you guys resemble Psalms 91 because you protect our children. You protect our generation. Without you, there will be no generation. You guys protect. You guys serve our babies. You take your time, and you're responsible for uplifting our children. So how would I be the best president? By pouring in money into our school system. Now, the Brooklyn Board president that is in office right now, Eric L. Adams, he's actually my mentor. And I've been with him the 8 years through his endeavors of the challenges and just the school system and all the things that he has done. And I understand that he put in over $140 million into the school system throughout the years of his presidency. And I see how things were moving. And Eric has opened the door for me, but I have my own shoes to fill. And at the end of the day, what I want to do for the school system is first personalize it. Every principal should have my phone number. You guys know what's going on inside of your school. You guys know what you need. And at the end of the day, what I've seen politicians do is use the backs of the oppressed school system to fabricate and make the world believe that they're going to help you. And they give you guys the bare minimum to barely survive. So therefore you can keep coming back to them over and over again. I've been in the music industry, the entertainment world for a long time. And I've created initiatives. I created a justice initiative, which I have established a relationship with the district attorney of Brooklyn, where our children need to go into the DA's office to understand how the district attorney's office operates. I also created a justice initiative with judges so the children can sit with the judges to understand what it is to be a judge from A to Z. I also established a NYPD, a police initiative, because in our low income housing, in the minority areas, we are taught and we are learned to understand police in back of the police car. And now we got handcuffs on and we don't know how to take what's going on. Now, I was illegally convicted. I understand what they did. They railroaded me. They hid evidence. I understood how the police did it for elevation. I understand how the district attorneys did it for an elevation. Everybody got a promotion on my dime. I had to spend time in prison illegally. So our children, I established an initiative, and this is just me being the bishop, not a politician. I've been doing this for 8 years, creating initiatives to pull children out of society so therefore they can understand the world.
And the average age of our kid is anywhere between 18, 19, and 20, and they're still in high school. The other thing that we figured out about our population is part of the reason why they're not engaging in any way, shape, or form is simply because they have to work. Now, the only jobs that they're able to get are basically delivery type jobs where they're Instacarting, they're delivering for Uber Eats, they're doing all of this other stuff. So we sat down last week, or maybe a week and a half ago, and had a meeting with each other and said, well, how are we going to work with this very specialized population? We can't tell them not to work in order to engage, but how do we use their life work as a way to engage? So right now we're in the process of developing activities and courses for them to do that involves the actual work that they have to do. So for instance, if I'm a kid that lives in a poor part of Brownsville, but I'm delivering food to someplace in Clinton Hills, which is a more affluent part of Brooklyn, what I can do is when I'm delivering their food, I can interview the person I'm delivering the food to. Then I can come back to my home and do a research on what is the median income of somebody living in my neighborhood? what is the median education rate of somebody living in my neighborhood, and do a comparison of somebody living in the neighborhood in which I deliver to, and then create a conscientious plan in order to get to live in that neighborhood. That's an economics credit that a kid can earn. I didn't ask you to stop earning money, because in many cases, the kids that we have right now are the only kids earning money, or the only person earning money in their household. So we have to think about how we're using the child's actual life. And yes, they're 18, 19, 20, but we still call them children, because many of them have never had a childhood before. So we have to think about how to use the child's actual life and connect it to real life stuff. So that they won't just say, why I got to do this math project? Why I got to do this art project? We also talked about doing things where, if we just collectively took a particular time period in American history, because we're not beholden to state exams. What if I said I just want to do something about the Harlem Renaissance, right? When you're delivering food to this particular person, interview them, but then write a creative story about that person's life as if they were in the Harlem Renaissance. But then another thing you can do is, what if the pandemic hit Harlem during the 1920s? What would that look like? Do a science project on that. But then also we talked about, how do we deliver food so we can teach them how to cook soul food, and when they align with us and they're cooking at the same time, that's a culinary arts elective credit. So we are trying to think completely out of the box and using what the kids' actual lives are, because we don't have the babies. And we're beholden to the same accountability standards of people that are in elementary school. They get on us for our attendance rate. We didn't have high attendance rates when we were in the building, simply because our kids were dealing with so much. For instance, what many people may not realize is, on a high school level, if a kid is incarcerated, you are still responsible for graduating that kid. That kid is still a part of your graduation cohort data, even if the kid is incarcerated. So we take all of these kids that come out of the criminal injustice system into our schools, into our lives, and we have to be the parole officer, the parent, the foster care agency, the healthcare agency. We have to be everything to this particular kid.
Thinking about the overall theme of what are we doing to support our children. Where I am right now, and my school in particular, is we, like Dennis said, like there are lots of things that we were already doing prior to the pandemic. And I think for me, being a new principal, because this is year 3, so there were a lot of things that we put in place because we were a new team. So I kind of feel like, we had a slight advantage, in that, because we're a new team. It's a struggling school. So there are different things that we had to put in place, as far as like student achievement cycles, every 6 weeks, having data meetings, parent support, this, that, and the other. And just a laser light focus on that. And to be honest with you, those qualities we did pretty much try to keep together. But one thing I did notice is that for us, we know that the pandemic is a very traumatic thing. So many different things has happened. But I had to say to my school, to my staff this week, right? I said, listen, guys, I know that this is a pandemic. I know that there's so many different things going on, right? But as a school community, we have things in place to support that. So we have an attendance team in place to support those attendance issues. We have a family impact team in place that does so much outreach for them. Like there's so many different things that we already have in place. But I said to them, when we come together to discuss instruction, that's all we're discussing. Because everything else that we know impacts instruction is being addressed. So I kind of felt like, it's a delicate dance, right? I understand we're still in the midst of a pandemic. However, we still have to make sure that our children are learning to the best of our ability. So that's my thing to them. What is within your control?